My name is Joseph McMonigal. I moved to Nelson County when I retired from the government service and 20 years in the Army. I moved to Nelson County because it was a place of healing for me. It's a very quiet and gentle place. I became the landowner president of the Landowners Association in our valley, which is directly under the mountain that they plan on topping. The homeowners that live there are all on mountain water, and our mountain water is controlled by what happens on the mountain. We've had construction on the mountain before, minor construction, and it's destroyed our wells, and we've had to put in numerous wells. My own house, we put 4 wells in, and we now have 2 of them teed together because it's the only way to get enough water for my home. If they do any blasting, and we know they will on the mountain because it's all granite, they're going to be cutting through the very system that provides us with the water for our home. Our home will be unlivable then, and I've asked Dominion what they will do if that occurs, and they won't even address the question. The other problem is when they dump the overburden, and we know they're going to just dump it off the mountain because they're not going to take 250,000 truckloads of dirt anywhere. That dirt is going to contain a lot of iron, and that iron creates an acid. And wherever they dump it, nothing will grow unless there's a huge amount of topsoil put on top of it. This is overburden that's got old growth forest on it. And whenever you remove the trees and the underbrush, there's no way to plant anything in its place. So there's going to be terrible erosion and lots more landslides on our side of the mountain. The landslides that occurred during Hurricane Camille occurred because the ground was completely soaked, and it flushed hundreds of thousands of tons of rock and trash into the Muddy and Davis Creek, and it killed a lot of people in Nelson County. It was the highest death toll in the entire state of Virginia from Hurricane Camille. We don't want to see that happen because a pipeline broke because of the instability of the mountain and destroyed half the homes in our valley. It's just too dangerous. The governor, we implore the governor to take some kind of action to prevent this from topping our mountain. It's just going to take our homes. I've been living in that specific house for 30 years. In fact, when I got out of the Army, it's the only home I've ever owned. I designed it with my wife, I drew the plans, and I built and drove every nail in that home. It's 5,000 square feet. It's sitting on a ridge. I even picked the place very carefully so it would sit on bedrock. It's a good home, and it's been there for 30 years, and that's where I've lived for 30 years, and I'm about to lose it. Thank you.
My family first moved to Nelson County in 1979, and my stepfather, Bob Monroe, built the Monroe Institute there because it had the promise of having the beauty, the serenity, the peacefulness that we needed to conduct our research and organization with the Monroe Institute. As a result of this pipeline, if it actually comes through, we will lose the water, we will lose the beauty, and we will not be able to conduct business. It will decimate our business in Nelson County and, as a consequence, all over the world, because people from all over the world come to our programs at the Monroe Institute. So we will not be able to offer our services whatsoever should it come through. We have 2 campuses, one at the bottom of the mountain and one on top, and both of them would be ill affected. The one on top is because that is the one that will likely lose the water. That is also where it will be very noisy. They will have to blast in order to put the pipeline in. So clearly our students would not be able to be there because we use an audio technology for our programs. And so we require absolute quiet. The lower campus is where the access road would be, where they would be bringing in huge trucks with the 42-inch pipeline. Again, they will have to also open the roads. There would be noise beyond the capacity for us to offer the programs. So overall, it would destroy our business. Personally, it is very hurtful to watch what would happen to the environment, and not just for us, for everyone who is having to suffer this pipeline going through. and to watch the hopes and the dreams of all these people who have built their businesses and their homes, because we will lose our home because we won't have water as well. We're right up on the mountain next to the campus. So.
Bill Limpert, Little Valley, Bath County, Virginia.
Lynn Limpert, same.
The pipeline has been a 24/7 nightmare for us for the last 15 months after we first found out about it on February 12th, 2015. We're on the alternate route of the pipeline that was publicly let out 15 months ago. The pipeline would basically cut our property in half. It would travel over 3,000 feet through the center of our property on what we call Miracle Ridge, which is a ridge covered with large, very old growth and virgin trees, the biggest trees we've ever seen. They would all be taken down. The ridge would be flattened. What's now a beautiful scene from our living room and our front porch would be a highway of rubble going up the mountain as wide as most interstate highways.
What type of impact do you think it will have on the environment?
I think major impact to the environment. We could easily lose our water. Everyone in Highland County and Bath County who's impacted by the pipeline or near the pipeline uses springs and wells for their water. There is no public water available whatsoever. And we're in what's called karst terrain, meaning that the ground is underlain with limestone that dissolves in water. So there's a lot of small, fragile limestone channels that are carrying water to our wells and springs. We're very concerned that during the construction and after the construction, soil and sediment runoff will enter sinkholes, which are prevalent in our area, get into those water-carrying channels, and choke them off, stop the water coming to our springs and wells. Additionally, the intensive blasting and extensive blasting as well that would be needed could easily fracture those limestone channels, cause them to collapse and cut the water off. Now the kicker to all this is that Dominion has very little liability for water loss from citizens who are near their pipeline. In almost all cases, they would have no liability whatsoever. In a case of a well within 500 feet of the pipeline in karst terrain, they would replace the water somehow. They don't say exactly how, but only if the well owner files a complaint. An investigation, by whom we don't know, is undertaken, and the investigation proves that the pipeline caused the loss of water. So the burden of proof is on the property owner and not on the multi-billion-dollar company. Now, when they replace the water, we're not sure how they're going to do that. Would they dig another well? Would they bring water in by truck? Regardless, if you have your water replaced, your property value goes way down. Okay, thank you.